Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Pulse of Donor Relations survey. If you would love, if you could, drop in the chat where you're joining us from and what is one piece of data from the Pulse that you want us to dive into today that you're curious about or something that you want to know about. We're going to start with you and what you want to hear about. So let us know who you are, where you're joining us from, and what do you want to hear about as far as the amazing data that we're presenting today? What topics of interest do you have? Let us know in the chat. We'd be happy to have you learn all about this just huge amount of data that we have for you. So let us know. Maybe it's a pillar, maybe it's an individual question. What do you want to hear about? So that we can make sure that we get the information that you want. So let us know where you're joining us from. Myself and Jen is here. Also, Ashley is here to help in the chat to give us keyed up data for all of you. So let us know where you're joining from. And then let us also know. I see friends from around the world. So Lauren wants to know about redefining engagement. Let us know what data you want us to dig into so that we can target this, because there's 87 pages and I want to make sure you get out of this what you want, since you all helped contribute to the Pulse of Donor Relations. So let us know what you want to hear about. And we are excited. Oh, Lee likes the pages with the summaries. Good. We're going to get to some of those. We had a lot of AI help with generating those summaries. So we're excited to help you interpret that. Engagement criteria. What data has been most helpful? That's a good one. Donor behavior communications. We have some questions about tools. So before we get started today, let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know what you want to chat about in terms of what data points you want me to cover from the 87 pages. Hi, Melissa from Kauai. I was just in Honolulu last week. I'm currently in Las Vegas, so I'm on one of my last road trips, big ones of the year. So working hard to bring you all, but we are so excited. Thanks to our sponsor, Amon, and the team at Awarded, we could not have done this without them. We count on our partners. We count on all of you to give us the amazing data that comes in. So just so you know, this all started in 2013. I was really thinking about that my industry and donor relations had no salary survey. I didn't know what others were doing, and I wanted a broad perspective. So in 2013, I launched the Pulse of Donor Relations survey. Here we are in 2025, 12 years later, and this is the seventh iteration of it. I wish I could do it every year, but it would kill myself and my team. Honestly, this takes us months to execute, months, although AI helped us aggregate some data this year. It's a heavy lift, and it's also a heavy lift from all of you who really are here with us. Hey, Jen, can you delete all the Firefly recorders and any of the AI tools? Please don't have those in our meetings. Thank you so much. So it has really helped us shape the industry. It has really the only salary survey out there for donor relations professionals. And 7 years, seven versions of this later, we've tried to keep many questions the same so you can do true benchmarking, and also added questions that are relevant at the time. So again, thanks to all of you for taking it. I know it takes a chunk of your time, but look at this amazing data that we get back. And thanks to our friends at Awarded for making this possible. So we're going to start out with the executive summary. So this year we did something different. I know a lot of you use this survey to bring it to your leadership to say, I either need more resources or, you know what, nobody does an honor roll anymore, which is something this survey has helped kill off organization wide, industry wide. And so we want you to have evidence. But I also thought about how can we really think about bringing this to your leaders, and they're not going to read 85 pages, y'all. Only us data nerds and nonprofit donor relations nerds are going to do that. So we gave you a 2-pager, or if you print responsibly front and back, you have a 1-pager here for your leadership with our key findings and an imperative for the leadership. So even if they don't want to read the paragraph, we gave them 2 sentences. So here are the things that we found. And again, that we can give to our leadership and help them take action. Now, I am using the Pulse of Donor Relations survey. I didn't make slides because I want you to know that you have this resource at your fingertips. And the ladies who are helping me, Jen and Ashley, will drop the link. But this is the Pulse of Donor Relations survey. Every 2 years it's conducted. We use the platform SurveyMonkey. They've been very good to us and very generous with us. And this year, for the first time ever, we had over 1,000 professional organizations take the survey, the most we've ever had. We've had thousands of people, but more than 1,000 different organizations answered this year for the first time ever. So kudos. So our first key finding is that donor relations is a strategic lever. So it is not just a department, it is a way of life or a way of fundraising. However, we aren't necessarily resourced appropriately. So I always call the back office the engine room or the infrastructure of the organization. And so 60% of our respondents have 3 or fewer full-time donor relations professionals. But if I were to look at the converse and the same data from the organization as to how many frontline fundraising professionals, it's way more than 3. Now, when we build out shops, we want to say that there will be a 3-to-1 ratio is ideal. 3 frontline folks to 1 infrastructure or engine room professional. That could be donor relations, database management, research and prospect development, proposal writing, comms, not people without fundraising goals tied to their portfolios. So we have room to grow, but I will tell you that when I started in donor relations 20-something years ago, when I was 9, when I was 9, a lot of shops didn't even have 1 professional. So we are growing. We are a strategic imperative. We are important to the donor retention cycle. We are important to donors, and we're important to our organization. So the average lifespan right now of a frontline fundraiser is 16 months or less and falling precipitously, versus a donor relations professional tends to stay in a position between 4 and 7 years. So much longer than a frontline fundraising professional. So that institutional or organizational knowledge stretches further. We're a lot harder to replace because sometimes we have the opportunity to document more of what we do and shake out what's in our heads. So an opportunity for all of us to think about how do we build strategic plans and not just lists of tasks. So the second thing is acknowledgement is now a baseline. If you're not thanking your donors, then you really shouldn't be in the fundraising business. I hate to use the word should, but if you can't thank a donor, you don't deserve a donor. And so over 90% of us send acknowledgements. However, only about 57% of us provide gift impact reporting, and even fewer of us personalize that reporting. Folks, we need to do 2 things in order to keep our donors. We need to thank them, and then we need to tell them what their money did. It's no longer an option. So we're getting heavily into fund management, making sure that those pesky unspent funds are out and spent, and that we need to report to donors on their gifts, on their generosity. So it's no longer a nice to have. Donors now have the expectation of transparency, outcomes, and inclusion. So if you're just thanking your donors, or if a donor gives $500 unrestricted to your nonprofit, and I'm looking at you, universities or schools, and they give $500 restricted, which one do they get better reporting on? It darn well better be unrestricted. And that's a gap that we have to close as fundraising professionals. So I'm partnering together with some of our allies, some of our strategic partners, and trying to rethink what unrestricted reporting looks like. So if you want to join the team of re-envisioning unrestricted reporting at nonprofit organizations, that is one of my Christmas and Q1 of 2026 projects, is really thinking about that. And then our other two key findings, we have three more. Just kidding. I don't know how to count today. I better if I'm going to play blackjack. I'm working. Engagement requires a redefinition. So less than 30% of teams are currently using donor behavior or preference to engage their donors. We're still saying, here's the date, here's the time. You either come to this event or we're not engaging with you. Yet we know that if we invite 1,000 people to an event, if 200 show up, that's good engagement. Well, what are we doing for the other 800? So giving is becoming more digital, more inclusive, more personalized. We need to redefine engagement beyond event attendance. It needs to align with our values as an organization, with our preferences and donor intent. I spent a lot of my time last week in Honolulu working with these most amazing teams who are really focusing on small 20 to 30 person donor engagement opportunities where their generosity comes to life. Gone is the buffet, gone is the cattle call event where nobody feels special and it's all about the organization. People want their hands on our work. And so our challenge is to make sure that we do that. Many of us have now shifted from thanking and recognizing donors into less dollar amount and more behavior. First-time donors, loyal donors, donors that lapse and come back, donors that increase their gifts. It's much more inclusive because we know that the dollar amount of a gift is the least important thing we know about them. So much more inclusive engagement. We've got to redefine that. So here's a challenge for us. 1 in 5 teams say, I don't feel empowered to innovate. I'm not part of the strategic discussion. And burnout is rising. Look, especially those of us in the States, we're having a heck of a year. I don't know anybody else who's like, can we just get 2025 over with? But I don't know that 2026 is going to be some shining, brilliance out there, but we put one foot in front of the other because not only do our communities need us, so do our donors. So we need to align our job structure and compensation. We're far underpaid compared to our fundraising counterparts with the same number of years, yet many of us do work that can be seen as equal, if not more important. In addition to that, if you want to keep your folks, you need to invest in professional development. I know budgets are being slashed. I know that hiring is being frozen. But let me tell you, the way to retain a staff is to invest in them, giving them flexible working opportunities. This whole idea of you will be chained to your desk 5 days a week, like it's 1974, is passe, and it's not what our folks want. So it sounds like I've got a great gathering. My team is taking down who those folks are that are identifying themselves to work on unrestricted reporting with me. So that's going to be one of my personal projects my friend Aman and I are working on. So we'd love to have you join our little coalition. Notice it's not a committee. It's not a task force. We're actually going to get stuff done. So we don't have meetings about meetings around here, right? So Taylor would love to collaborate with ADRP. Look forward to them reaching out to us. So would love to hear that. And then technology and data are absolutely underutilized. I am fully aware that everyone hates their CRM. I am fully aware that our systems don't talk to each other. I am fully aware of our challenges. I'm fully aware that if I came up with a CRM that worked for every nonprofit, I'd be a gabajillionaire. And I'd be in the high limit room drinking a martini or a nice, beautiful mocktail right now. I love Michelle. She loves her CRM. Yay. I hope it's something like Bloomerang and good people are behind it. So many of us really, really are challenged by this. So also our technology is underutilized. We have big honking technologies and we're not using them. We're not using the data we already have, like communication preference and other things like that. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Since so many of you have said you want to join the Unrestricted Fund Reporting Coalition, we're going to host a conversation. We'll put it up on our website. I'll have my team do it, and then we'll work from there rather than trying to coordinate everybody's schedules. Because Lord knows a doodle poll can't cut that one now that I've got so many people excited about it. So we're going to make that possible. We are going to lean in heavily into learning communities. So we'll set up a base camp for a community of practice around unrestricted reporting. So we'll send out that invite after this. So done. I love all the enthusiasm for it because I tell you, when I go out there and say, what are you doing for unrestricted reporting? Everybody has a sheepish grin on their face. So, right? So the final word to our leadership is donor relations is not a thank you note. Look, I've been out here carrying the flag for donor relations, just like many of you for a long time. We now are at the strategic table, but we need to bring cards with us. We need to bring, that's what the Pulse survey is. So that when somebody says to you, what are we doing in the industry about this? You say, you know what? I actually have that data from more than 1,000 different organizations. And for those of you who are in different sectors, if you are patient and grace-filled with us and our team, we can actually further segment this data. It won't come out in this beautiful of a format because we pay a graphic designer to do this. But I can give you raw survey data. So if you have raise a certain amount of money, I can filter it all that way. I can filter it by type of organization. I just need some time and patience to do that. That maybe, but you can send a request to info at once we complete today, and info@donorrelations.com, and we'll try to figure out some of these things for you. Also, I know many of you have emailed me separately when you were going to negotiate for a job or you were going to look at a job posting. As you know, we don't post jobs without salaries. Nobody works for free, and salary is a requirement of all of our job postings. But if you're going in to negotiate, I can actually give you salary data from like organizations. So you can feel free to reach out to us. We are here as a service for you. And I will tell all of you to negotiate like your life is depending on it. So, thanks, Cheryl. I remember our emails back and forth. So, I remember that well, and I'm glad I helped even just a little bit. Email is my preferred communication method. Thank you for asking, Cameron, because fortunately or unfortunately, I have a lot of folks on LinkedIn, and those messages are, I have some people that help me on LinkedIn, so they don't always, they filter through, but it ever since the GoFundMe thing, my LinkedIn is a wee bit busier than it used to be. That's what happens when you have a post go viral and CNN contacts you. So I have a lot of people wanting a lot of information from me on LinkedIn these days. Sorry, but hey, at least we beat GoFundMe, so, or a Go F me as I call them. So you know, sometimes it pays to be a ballsy redhead out there fighting for my family in the nonprofit world. And some days you're scared that they're going to dox you, but they haven't yet. So I'm pretty tough, though. They got to find me to dox me, folks. So donor relations is a strategic move. It is no longer a nice to have. It is what we do. Yes, I protect the family. Me and Taylor Swift, same. I'm just looking for my Travis Kelce, if you let, so, um, and I am not a Swiftie, but her new album and I, simpatico. That song, Father Figure, really resonated with me. I'm an Enneagram 8 for those of you that really want to overshare. So I protect everyone but myself. So I'm working on it with my therapist. So donor relations, we have a strategic case for it. We have, yes, typical DR person. It's who we are, right? So my team has told me that you guys asked for some specific things. I'm going to dive into the first thing that interested me. This is the first year we asked the question about AI because 2 years ago it didn't exist, or it did, but in a very different way. My team and I use AI, but we also have a computer usage policy. It was really surprising to me how many of your nonprofits don't have an AI usage policy yet, but a lot of you are using it. So remember that donor data is confidential, and it concerns me greatly how many folks are um, openly and freely using AI to generate content or things without understanding the ramifications of this. And so I will give you an example that hit close to home for us. As many of you know, I've written 4 books. I'm sure Ashley will drop the Amazon link to the bookstore if you haven't yet picked up a book. Shameless plug. But if someone were to take the PDF of my book and upload it into AI and say, what does Lynne Wester think of this? I lose all rights to my copyright because copyright law hasn't caught up with AI. So anything you generate from someone's authorship or a book or a blog, they no longer have copyright ownership of. So a lot of people have asked me to create a chatbot or an AI with donor relations guru or Lynn in there. And I would have to sacrifice all ownership of my copyrighted materials to do that. And so seeing as those books, wait, until you have written 300 pages or 200 pages or 100 pages of your life down somewhere, you don't understand how much that's your baby and you cherish it and you really want other people to cherish it in the same way. So know that if you're uploading anything that's copyrighted, you're immediately taking away that person's right to any claims on any future work or anything generated from it. So we're working on it. When the copyright law catches up, I'll be happy to put our information out there, but that's the reality. That's why you have to have an AI usage policy. So how we're using AI is assistive intelligence, not artificial intelligence. AI will never be able to generate donor content the way you will, but I'll tell you what it can do. It can take a researcher's really dense, really heady scientific report. I will pop it into AI and I will have it explain this to me like I'm a 6th grader, and it will break down that report so I can deliver that information to a donor. But currently, we don't use AI to generate content. It's not good enough. It doesn't have a donor focused image, and it sounds like everybody else. So if I want Mad Lib's fundraising copy, I guess I could use AI. But so think about how you're using AI at your organization. Also, we know that the actual practice of gratitude raises your serotonin and your dopamine levels. So, A, you're going to get a nice, good hit from that. And B, the practice of gratitude makes you better at it. By the time I write a prompt good enough to get me a thank you for a donor that I would actually send to a human, I could have just written the gratitude myself. So that's kind of our policy on it. We think AI agents and things like that are wonderful, but we run a human company. You won't see animation from us. You're going to see us, our real faces, whether we're having good hair days, bad hair days, good days out in the world, bad hair days, doesn't matter because it's all about the hair and the nails at this company. Because Matthew always has the best manicures. So we're all just trying to beat him. So that's one thing. Please drop questions or topics you want covered in the chat so I can skip to those parts of the Pulse of Donor Relations survey. I am going to pop into some salary data. So I'm going to take a deep breath and say, what are we doing now? It's gone down precipitously, but the fact that we're paying people under 40K a year is concerning. And I have seen advertisements for jobs in our sector to do gift agreements and work in the database for $20 an hour at a major university. No, 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 no. Ashlyn asks a great question. Yes, I have, Kate. Yes, I have. If you put academic reports into AI, it does not have the same effect because those are usually journal articles or things that the faculty member has published, Ashlyn. So if it's out there, yes. And Ashley, we had to reject the job posting. So they wanted a master's degree and they wanted to pay $20 to $22 an hour. And we were like, that's a hard no from us. So we're not posting a job that will basically make you not above the poverty line. So that's a no, because I'd go work at Taco Bell so at least I could get a free meal, right? So exactly, what are we, junior faculty? Pay me a living wage. So our salaries are going up. Again, salaries depend on location. They depend, and we're seeing more and more remote jobs. They depend on industry. So I'm going to break it down for you all and tell you the truth like I always do. Healthcare always pays top. Most healthcare pay more than any other nonprofit. After that, it's usually higher education. After that, it's usually independent schools or large federated nonprofits, the American Cancers or the Leukemia Lymphomas or those folks. And then on down it goes when it comes to pay. Pay is not everything. Folks, I don't know if you've checked out your healthcare premiums, but they're going up in the United States. So my healthcare premium in the United States, I don't live in the United States anymore. Yes, this is in USD. Sorry, Canadians. I can convert it if I try. But where was I going? If I were in the United States, my health and care premium was $580 last year. It would be $1,900 this year per month. So I'm glad I live somewhere else where my healthcare is $200 a month. So other benefits can be negotiated. Time off can be negotiated. Professional development can be negotiated. We know that we're underpaid. Let me tell you, when you're going into a job is the only time you're going to be able to negotiate. So you need to pretend like you're protecting the family, which you are, no matter what your family structure is, and negotiate like hell. You would be shocked at how many people we help hire at nonprofits who don't ever even negotiate the salary. And I know it's a female thing, a lot of us ladies, but negotiate, negotiate, negotiate. Negotiate your time off. Negotiate. I don't care if it's your parking. I don't care if it's your cell phone. Do it. Because exactly, Katie, they're already going to hire you. They're already going to hire you. They're not going to not hire you because you negotiated. And if the employer says, no, we don't negotiate on anything, you want to run from that employer. We literally had one of our team members at DRG who was thinking of taking a new job. He got the offer and he said, here are some things I'd like to negotiate on. And they said no to everything. And so we said, run from that job. They haven't filled the posting. It's been a year and a half. That's because it's not a great organization. They have to give a little somewhere else. So current base salary, again, we can filter this by industry. We can do that. So exactly. And as Angie and everyone else is saying, so men usually apply for the job when they meet 40% of the criteria. Women apply once they meet 100% of the criteria. Get out there and apply. What's the worst that can happen? Right. So love that. They told you no. That's okay. We can battle back. Okay. Let us know in the chat what other data you want to look at. We have a whole section on organizations. Here is something I want to talk about. This is ridiculous to me. I know tons of fundraising shops that offer incentive pay. Never do they offer a percentage of what they raise. That is unethical and unethical. I'm not saying that, but I know tons of universities, tons of hospitals that give incentive pay or bonuses, but they only give it to their frontline fundraiser. Rachel, we can break that down for you. If you send us an email, I'd be happy to break that down for you. Bonuses should be given to everyone. So you're telling me that the person who closes the gift is not as important as the person who writes the gift agreement? Au contraire, mon frere. I think that if you're going to hand out incentives, you need to do that immediately. Do you know what I mean? So, sorry. Had a small thing happen. So we're fine. Okay, so we're going to move beyond organizational structure. Here's the title levels. We are having more and more people at the AVP level and the VP level. And our friend Talisa at the University of Alaska System is now president of the Systems Foundation. And I think she's the first president to come out of donor relations in the industry. So kudos to her. She's been in all our programs. We love her. But president of all of fundraising, that's our girl, Talisa. So if you see her, if you get to talk to her, she's the president over a system of 3 universities fundraising. So we're very proud of our girl. But more and more of us are over multiple departments: donor relations and gift processing, donor relations and communications, and we're getting AVP roles. Whereas in 2015, when I started this survey, 2 people, and now we have 15, 20, lots of people in that. So there is growth. There is growth. We still, y'all, are fighting this fight over being called stewardship. We're moving much more into donor engagement. We're moving much more into donor experience, things like that. Ideally, we want to be much broader than stewardship, unless stewardship is all that you do, just reporting. So we're getting there. We're getting there. Our experience. Now, here's some good news. Lots of new folks are coming into donor relations. Look at that 1 to 2 and 3 to 5. Huge. But we also are going to have a lot of retirements, the great resignation, the great retirements, a whole new. Angie is probably my queen mother of donor relations, and she just retired last year. So we have a huge loss of knowledge in our industry that's happening. And so now Angie's not retired. She's with us now. So full-time whenever she wants to work, right? So, okay, Angela, there you go. Your president insists on calling it stewardship. And what I would say to that is, bless your heart and have a magical day, President. So that's something that's changing. A lot of people moving jobs recently. And we have a lot of change because we have a lot of remote first employees now. If you talk to our friend Gail at UCLA, their team in donor relations is 100% remote. I know that some of you are mandated to be in the office for 5 days a week, but that is going to hamper your hiring. It's really going to hamper your hiring. Monica, team size. I think we covered that in the beginning. Here's team size, and we can actually compare team size to amount of revenue earned in a year from donors. So happy to talk about that. And in our last few pages, I'm trying to think, 83, guys, the page where it talks about how many hours we're spending on reporting and things, there's a lot of that. So there's a lot of that written out. Sorry, I can't remember what page. I don't have it all memorized yet. Give me like 3 months with it and I'll know which page goes where. So you'd be amazed at what I can learn. But Monica, it's in there. Here's what's interesting. Page 56. Thank you. So here it is. Are the number of full-time equivalents for donor relations going to increase, decrease, or stay the same? You can see that 2025 is going to hit us hard. It's the lowest level of increase since 2017. Folks, an economic downturn is going to happen. It happens in cycles. This is not a political statement. Don't shoot the messenger. So, in an economic downturn, we know that those that invest in donor relations actually raise more money. That's what happened in 2008. So, for those of you that are decreasing your donor relations staff, fight like hell for your team, or fight for outsourcing. So, just something for you to think about. Look at this increase in strong culture of gratitude. I am buoyed by this. I am really thrilled that a lot of our organizations has a strong culture of gratitude. I think they're starting to get it, that they can't just ask all day and expect that donors are going to take that. They have a lot of choice and they can go to other places. So Ashley tells me it's on page 56. Aha. So yes, Melissa, so that we know that anyone who didn't decrease their donor relations staff in 2008, their fundraising was up 19%. And those that did decrease their donor relations and fundraising staff were down 9%. I can go and I'm a nerd, so I have that study still because I've been around since I was 9, remember? And so we know, just like during the pandemic, those that reached out to their donors, asked them how they were doing, made sure they cared about them rather than ask them for money, they're giving shot through the roof, right? So here's how many staff hours do teams spend creating a single endowed report. As we know, this is why folks like Awarded and FundMiner are, and Otter and FundDriver are trying to help us. We still spend way too much time doing these. And for something that you would think is as simple as a mail merge, you would be shocked. Usually it's a season or a quarter, 3 to 4 months. And some people don't even know how much time it takes. There's significant variance in this. I remember when Jen, someone will drop that in the chat for you. Yeah, never underestimate the complexity of a mail merge. I remember when my team, when we invented Otter, I was like, how many different ways can somebody do an endowment report? You do this, you do that, and out the door it goes. Ignorant, naive woman. I had no idea how many ways people could complicate or overcomplicate something. So just a kind of a key note there. We're still spending far too much time doing fund reporting and not enough. Yes, flying the plane while building it, Lori. We really were. Overture. Overture is an online portal. So the donor has to log in and things, really complex, but can be used effectively, but requires a heavy lift on the staff sometimes. So have to kind of change the way you do your work. But any progress is progress, or progress, as my Canadian friends say. So reporting is still really burdening a lot of our teams. And we're still doing a lot of custom bespoke reports. I think if people asked in the beginning, what am I seeing changing? Oh, Sheila, I love StoryRaise. They can do hyper personalized endowment reports really quickly. So great platform. Absolutely great. How many custom bespoke reports are we sending? It depends on the organization. I will tell you that I work with clients all the time who are sending 30 to 50 page reports to donors who have given 10 to 50 million dollars. And I'm like, those donors don't have time to read 30 pages of your text. Nobody loves you that much. There may be one, but we're overdoing it in custom bespoke reporting, and we're underdoing it in unrestricted reporting. So, Leanne, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. But we do have that data from the Penelope Burke donor centered study. So we do have the data of the impact on reporting. Jen, I would tell you that a platform will take a C report, a good platform will take a C report to an A report. And Lillian and Sheila, you're right. StoryRaise has many more uses beyond Otter, which delivers PDFs. So exactly, Cheryl. We try to give you the data that you can use. I say that one FTE can produce about 20 reports a year with some assistance from Marcom, but it all depends. What else do you want to know about? What else can I dive in on the data? Again, I've got 80 pages. I've got 4 pillars. I've got, you let us know and I can throw you into kind of my observations. The other new thing, not only did we do a header page that I wrote myself by hand, but in addition, I have put Lynne's thoughts, little bubbles. And literally I went through and typed it, and then the graphic designer. Y'all, we have killed the honor roll. We have killed it. If you're still doing it, don't. I mean, we are killing it. Celebrate. It's dead. Nobody needs it. Nobody wants it. It's not how donors did it. This has been a 15-year effort of mine to kill that damn thing. Excuse my French, but she's officially dead and gone. Yes, Catherine, I'll be happy to tell your leadership with that. I can give you stats. We have a whole website dedicated to it. Ashley will drop in there. And all of us that have killed the donor honor rolls have never gone back, right? Well, Annual Giving Network is, God bless them, but for those of you who have eliminated your honor roll, let us know if you have had success, or if, I know that so you said the next thing is donor walls. Next thing is donor walls and giving societies for me. So drop if you've killed your honor roll. For those who are still lingering with it, pop in there your success and let us know that you're now raising more money and that all your donors didn't go away. And let people know who are still struggling with this. Kate, community-centered fundraising has not given me any guidance as to any strategies or tactics to use. So until they develop out actually what to do, rather than just condemning donor-centered fundraising, that's where I'd like to see them go, is giving us positive reinforcement of what we should do, or some advice in donor relations. All I hear is don't thank your donors, don't worship them. And so not great, right? So Michelle is saying it, honor roll and public recognition down, donor giving and retention up. So Jody, honor rolls and giving societies are 2 friends who live together. And so when you get rid of your giving societies, we also have questions about that. Here it is. Here's your giving societies. Have you reduced or eliminated recognition societies? We're working on it. And so a lot of us are in that path because we know that it isn't effective. Instead, what is effective is greater stewardship. So we know, based on our data, that donor recognition societies and clubs, and from a study from GG&A, Grensbach and Gleer. So Greta, everybody's asking, what about the new form? The new form of recognition is inclusive, meaningful, and it's behavior-based, right? So yeah, Kate, happy to talk to you about it. Happy to talk to anyone about this. So I love that so many of you are talking about getting rid of your giving societies, because a ton of us have them, and a ton of us have levels within them, the bronze, pewter, gold, but we're getting there. There's a Lynne's thought bubble. I think giving societies and donor walls are going to be the next pew pew, eliminate, not do the thing. Sorry, I'm not promoting violence. Please don't think I'm promoting violence. But if they die, no one will be unhappy, because again, we're looking at behavior-based, break the chains. Exactly. The only exception here would be legacy or planned giving societies. Those folks still like it, and that's a behavior. Planned giving is a behavior. It's not you have to die and leave us 500K, otherwise we don't recognize you. It's inclusive. So Tracy, if you're looking for information on behavior-based, we have tons of it on our website. But The amount of the gift no longer dictates how we thank donors and recognize them. Brian, I love consecutive or loyal. I don't think you need a giving society for it. I think you just need to call them loyal. So recognize the behavior without creating artifice and structure around that artifice. Hey, ladies, can you find me my slides on events or my number page on events? And I'll answer Miss Melissa's question. Thanks, girls. It needs to be inclusive. So Marie, Helene, traditionally recognition was exclusive. And now we want to be inclusive. People need to see themselves. And so we look at Eugenia Curtis at the University of Tennessee, who gave 73 years consecutively, right? Laurel, I would kill them and be done with them. So every time we get rid of giving societies, we don't tell the donors and no one notices and nobody cares, to be honest. It's something that we have set up. We don't need to call them leadership donors because let me tell you, Laurel, just because you can give $1,500 or $2,500 a year doesn't make you a leader. You know what makes you a leader? Showing up every year and giving a sacrificial gift, right? So Shannon did it and nobody cared. And remember, we want to use the Disney rule. You know, my background's at Disney. Disney means exactly, Leanne, what you call them isn't as important as how you treat them. So Disney, when they make a change, unless 10% of their guests complain about the change, they don't reconsider it. So I'm going to give you an example you can use. You have 3,000 donors in your giving societies, leadership annual, lifetime cumulative, blah, blah, blah. And you decide, screw it, no more lapel pins, no more honor rolls, none of that. 300 of those people have to show up picketing your work or call or send a strongly worded email, as my mother likes to send, about your giving societies in order for you to change it back. I know it's hard to, Melissa, to imagine, but look at the folks in the comments who've done it and they just don't care. Imagine if instead of giving societies, I could tell every unrestricted donor what we did with their money. Holy crap. We'd be doing our jobs, not putting freaking ribbons on name tags, which is not strategic work. And it doesn't, I mean, you got a master's degree and you're like, okay, I got to line this shit up so that name tag is perfect. Seriously? This is not what we aspire to do. We have better stories to tell and more impact to have. Can you tell I'm a little bit passionate about those effing ribbons? Right? And there's Jen. We're in a capital campaign, no honor rolls, no giving societies, nobody gave a poop. I'm fired up because we have spent so many years doing stuff that doesn't matter that has kept us from the things that do. And you're right, Angela, catering to exclusivity raises more complaints and questions than not. You know what I love? Generous freaking people. 60% of our population is generous. I'm going to hang out with them and I don't care how much they give. It's the fact that they're generous. Look at what people have been doing in the States when SNAP benefits got cut. They built their own little pantries. My dad went out and started buying cases of beanie weenies, pull top, of course, because he knows what it's like to be poor and hungry. And he and my mom are like, we're going to give money. We're going to buy food. We're going to do our part, right? So we've got to lean into that. So someone asked a question about events and I'm loving the chat and it's going to go back out, right? And so this is, in the chat's going to go back out so that you can have all these great ideas. Events are great until they're not, but I'm going to tell you something that we teach at all of our conferences. By the way, next year, Chicago, Nashville, and in Nashville, we're partnering with Charity Water. I did it. I got Scott's attention. We are going through their donor experience lab together. We are the only conference that's ever been allowed to do it. Holy crap, the conference in Nashville is going to go, and we're at a Kimpton, and Chicago too. And my team will take care of the dates. And we're launching the conferences next week. So save your shekels because Chicago and Nashville, woo, so excited. Like, so excited. Okay, events. Here's the thing about events. Events are not the thing. In fact, I want us, you know, how I shifted stewardship to donor relations. Let's shift events to experiences. F an event, I want an experience. Because let me tell you what's an experience. Grabbing some snacks that I just got in Hawaii, laying down in comfy clothes, and watching It's All Her Fault on Hulu or on Peacock, which if you haven't watched it, your mind's going to be blown. That is an experience. You know what's not an experience? Going to an event with Spanx on in uncomfortable clothes, eating bad food, and listening to fancy people grip a podium and will talk at me. It's not about the event. It's about what happens after the event, right? So if you're not still doing hybrid events, you've got an opportunity there, right? But just bringing a bunch of rich people in a room and gathering them together is not an event. We've got to bring people together, not based on how much they give, but instead on what they're passionate about. Interactive, hands-on. Matthew created like this hologram with AI of Coach Izzo. People want their hands on things. When I was in Honolulu last week, we spent time crafting engaging, interactive things like glass blowing and volunteering. Donors can go to the fancy stuff themselves, right? So we've got that. Janet, we actually have a webinar tomorrow with our friends at Fundminer, our new partners at Fundminer, about unspent funds, right? About unspent funds. So, Lori, we've moved beyond scholarships and scholarship recipients and donors getting together and being forced to have an awkward luncheon together. Nope. They're going to go tour a museum together. They're going to go have a hands-on experience. They're going to go volunteer. They're going to do something where they have a shared experience as peers, because donors are not up here and students are not down here. They're both human beings. And according to me, I believe they have equal rights. Boom, donor, student. And we can't promise donors to meet their student, which is a term we don't want to use anyway. Instead, we're going to provide them meaningful experiences, right? Fewer events, deeper and more meaningful connections. Y'all, we have to have more virtual and digital events. Exactly, Katie. Oh, sorry, Kate, not Katie. My bad. I got excited for you. I added an I to your name. We need more online events. You can make an online experience completely immersive. And some of us don't want to go there in person. Okay. We're fine with our screens. It's okay. It is 2025. We can do immersive. We have an opportunity here that is more inclusive, right, of our donors. Now, the number of events we're doing is falling. Thank goodness. Fewer events, more meaningful events, more hands-on, and smaller. I just did something weird with my screen. So we need to stop doing exactly, Matthew, even you, Mr. Event himself, my event unicorn. Peopling is hard because many people suck, Cheryl, let's be honest, right? And frankly, I don't want to do it all the time. So beneficiaries meeting donors in a formal setting is another thing we can retire. It's not on the student to thank the donor. That's our responsibility as an organization. So instead, look at these people. They're having a silent disco. They're not having fun. No, I'm just kidding. Immersive experiences. So let's shift from events to experiences. Okay, we've got 8 minutes. Do I got some rapid fire questions? Do I have some, what key takeaways? One of my favorite parts of the whole survey is these pages at the end. And, I used to read every single response, which is hard. But I still read every single response. But now AI can group them for us. And we thought about, what do we do? Julie, 7 thank yous before the next ask. And a thank you could be a receipt. It could be a text. It could be a video. We need human connection now more than ever. And let me tell you, as a person who's making gifts out there, the lack of thank yous I'm getting is shocking. Tracy, there are no slides. I'm literally using the Pulse report itself. So my team will drop the link to the Pulse. Here's the future, folks. Impact and transparency. Every donor who gives us a gift can expect gratitude and impact. That's it. That's our covenant with them. If we can't deliver on that, we shouldn't accept the gift, right? A lot of people are saying more personalized than ever. More personalized than ever. More personalized than ever. Because we live in a consumer experience economy. When I am shopping with brands, I am having an experience. I am not just picking things off the rack. That is not an experience, or it's not one I want to do. Angie loves that. That is not my jam, right? So again, the recipients, there's no onus on them to thank the donor. Yes, to Bloomingdale's. I'm not a TJ Maxxer. Sorry, Angie. I love an experience, right? But I like when you buy me things from TJ Maxx. It's very nice. So emphasis on relationships, emphasis on authenticity, folks. In today's AI world, it's hard to find what's real, right? Hard to find what's real. Annalise, we did a $25 30-minute webinar on how to use AI and how to write prompts. One of the things we heard from all our audiences after these How Do I Do It series is we need more $25 bite-sized content. So in 2026, we're going to do another round of them. So we're going to do a whole nother round of them. We need to use data and metrics, which is why you have this report. I want you to wave this in front of your leadership. I want you to take this back to the office and say, this is my field. This is what I love. And here's how we can do it better. Right. So it's not just doing some materials digitally. It's doing all materials mobile first, print second. Mobile first, print second. And when I say mobile, I don't mean a PDF that opens. I mean something, a platform like StoryRaise where I can view it on my phone. Now, I am not telling you that print is dead. The handwritten note still rules the day, folks. I still write handwritten notes. My team writes handwritten notes. We love them. Donors love them, right? We love that. So opportunities abound. So again, it's a combination, but it's really about how we meet donors, where they want to be communicated with, and what they want to hear about, right? What they want to hear about. So yeah, we use handwritten. I still write mine. I come to the States to my parents' house and I'll sit there and my dad goes, doing your homework. And I'm like, yes, Daddy, I'm writing my handwritten thank you notes. And my mom sits in her armchair and beams because she's the one that taught us. If you haven't yet spent time with page 84 of the report, I want you to spend time with page 84. Page 84 is it. Page 84 is it. We are central to your fundraising success. Good donor relations makes or breaks a donor's experience, but you've got to invest in it. You can't just hire somebody for $40K a year and with no tools and be like, figure it out. I remember when I started, I made $22,500 a year and I was paid monthly. Oh my God. Right? Donor relations and the donor experience is everyone's responsibility, not just one team's. And we in donor relations, we need to be more future oriented and more strategic, less reactive, more proactive. I want you to hear that again. Folks, the world cannot happen to us. We have to make the world happen. I'm here to help you lead through that. Me and my team, that's what we're here for. That's what we create this for, each and every one of you. And let me finally say this. Without any one of you, we can't do this work. The survey doesn't happen without you taking it. The survey doesn't happen without Amon and the team at Awarded sponsoring it. We pay a graphic designer because Lord knows you don't want me in a crayon trying to do charts like I used to do them in Excel. That's how it started in 2013. And thanks to my marketing team. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want every single one of you who's in this webinar, all 400 and some change of you, to drop something in the chat that you're curious about or something that you want to talk about in your shop based on this information. We are here to put it out for you. And I see my unicorn and Queen Mother out there, but we want to connect with you and help you. This is not just my profession, but my vocation and my life's work. You know, so what do you want to hear about? What do you need? And how are you going to change the way you work based on this? Right. And we're going to figure out how to push this together. We already have a community of learning around unrestricted reporting coming. I kind of am feeling like we might need a community of learning of how to kill off your giving societies and put both successful people who've done it and the people who want to do it in there. So you've got my brain. You guys inspire me so much. And then we have a survey. Please take the survey on this webinar. Again, tomorrow we have a free webinar with our folks from Fund Miner. That's Chelsea and the team to talk about unspent funds and fund management. And so if you want specific information, remember I made the offer at the top. You can email us at info@donorrelations.com. You know where to find us. And a way to gather stories and share quickly, Melissa, look up Memory Fox. Memory Fox. Go see my friends Chris and the team there. I just want to say thank you. As I travel, as I get to spend time with each and every one of you, you all inspire me. You are the why behind Donor Relations Group. Our team of 18 work every day with any of you. And if you need help, Memory Fox, as in fox, like the animal. Sorry, Memory Fox. Sorry. But we're so grateful, and we're grateful for the time you spend to us. So thank you all. We're going to keep the chat going, but most gratitude to all of you. And we hope this sparks you. And if you want to email me personally, you know how to get a hold of me. Send me an email. And as always, I protect the family. So thank you all for being here. We'll send you the slides, the recording, the chat. We don't have the slides, the report, the recording, the chat. And hopefully see you soon. Monica, we're working on community of practice circles for different sectors. So we've already got one for our Canadian U15 plus. We're going to go out from there. Thank you all for inspiring me. Oh my gosh, Katie Braden. Hi. Okay, I need to stop. All right, I got another meeting. Y'all are the best. Bye, everybody. Thanks to my team.